Hello, this is Brian Whitten and ET Art. I thought I'd post another video up today because there was a couple of things that I found on a river rock that I found extremely interesting. It referred to an attempt over Easter weekend, once again in Sydney and other areas of New South Wales. I won't go any further than that, just to say that there was another attempt to plant and explode nuclear weapons. But before moving on to that process, I will explain a few things going on from my last video, which was the end, and basically part 3, which told of how many people were going to be taken from Earth, and the glyphs on this. I think this is the Temple of Luxor in Egypt that this glyph copy is from, and we spoke of this 11.1% here of the world's population being 876 million people, and that the first lot of people, most likely I think what's going to happen here is 11.1% of the 11.1%, which has been 93.7 million people, will be taken on the first night. I believe, to be honest, the Queen is already gone, which is why she didn't attend her Easter church service in England. She was taken the night before, I expect, and the outcome of that was that she will not be attending any further outings, and would only be told on the morning of the day. Okay, I believe she's actually gone. And the 3 days of takings I've always thought will happen are probably not 3 days of takings. What that was a misunderstanding on my behalf, is that there's possibly 3 days before the next lot. So they start with one, but the next one is 97.3 million people, and it may be that this lot here, the rest that are left over, I think it's 779 million people of the 876 million, they may be taken in the second night, or the second lot of takings, which may be 3 days after, I do not know. But certainly that is a number that are going to be taken off the planet altogether. It's 876 million people, and that is what the situation is. That part will not be wrong. Why I've come back here to address one or two things with this is the following. I have shown you this picture before. It's actually only the desktop saving on my laptop here, but I didn't actually create this or put this here. It was the fact that it was there that I noticed more and more things. I'll insert a picture of this for you too, so you can get a very clear version. But coming back to the TV now, I said to you that this line here and the angle that it was at was representing a time. In other words, it was dark picture, and normally when it's dark they mean night time. That's why you get these images in where you haven't got a lot of light happening. It generally means it's a nighttime process, and I said to you that that is saying they're going to be gone, and their time frame was 1 a.m. in the morning because of the angle of that, and also that it was going to be, they're going to be gone before the Earth's axis straightens. I wanted to show you one other thing. Now back to our glyph again, and understand that what I've just said is that we're indicating there that the time of the takings is going to be at night time, and it's going to be prior to 1 o'clock. I'll come back to this glyph now and show you the bird that's sitting on this half globe. It's talking about a night, at night time. The bird, which indicates flying away, and it's by the way of that bird and the look of it, it's actually a bird of prey. It sits on this here between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. Its beak, if you draw a line down here and from where its backside sits on the globe, it is, and this being a clock, represents 11, midnight, 1 a.m. We have glyph down here is saying exactly the same thing. It has 11 with this P on it. It's 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. It's exactly saying the same time frame as that, as in what time of night they're going to be taken. As I said in my last video, you can hide wherever you want. They'll pick you up with a hole in the ground in a lead, in a room, 12 foot of lead. They'll still pick you out of that without a problem. Over here, I'm not 100% sure what this means, but it tends to me to reflect the possibility that this there may be two separate takings. So in other words, the smaller one first, being the 97 million, and then it may be that you're given a period of time to tell the truth, because with the 97 million gone, you haven't got the threat of death over your head. But if you remain quiet, well then this lot will go, and that's why this is a bigger thing there. That's why I think that's actually saying to us, the smaller group of people of 97 million go in the first taking, and I don't think we're too far off that, by the way. Like I said, the 3 nights of taking, I suspect, is possibly, they weren't 3 nights of takings, it was 3 nights since the Queen is gone. That actually is tonight. But anyway, back here, I would suspect that that's what we're being told. So in this bigger group, this remaining 779 million people that are then going to be taken away, are the people on our planet here that persist with pushing the Queen's lies and the lies of human history. This will be the historians, this will be the university lecturers, this will be all of the people involved with covering up, whether they were involved in this child sacrifice and rape and murder, or genocidal behaviour of the crazy maniacs we've got on our planet. One will be that bald-headed bloke from Queensland. I'm not kidding, I loathe that guy. He's a gutless dog. But anyway, back to our glyph here. This is who's going to be in this 779 million people that are remaining here. It's all the people that know the truth, that are paid money from a university, good money, to mislead the rest, because you're in actual fact the very reason these people have got away with what they have for so long. I really strongly suggest you realise where you're placing yourself. This would be your Graham Hancocks, your David Icke's, your Professor Brian Cox's, all such people. I'm not saying that they are definitely lying. I'm saying to you, if they are, they're in this group here. And like I said, all the university lecturers, the people that know the truth but teach false prophets here, are going to be taken away. You're going to be in this next group. I'm certain that a little one here is going to be the 11.1% of the 11.1% of the world population. I'm certain that's going to be the case, and I'm absolutely certain that the interpretation of that being 11 PM to 1 AM is also going to be 100% correct. Now the images I'm going to show you today, not just images, I'm going to go through a few videos as well, are taken from this rock. That is one side of it. You can see why I've picked it up, as this, when you pick this rock up, it's got a nice archway here. It's like it's almost been cut with a router or something of that nature. And you will see that there are, you know, the odd profiles of faces in certain areas. You may see it, you may not. That's fine. What we're going to do is look at that rock. This is the other side of it. And as you can see, it's a reasonably plain looking rock. I love the colours on it, the yellow and red. They look really quite nice, which is why I picked some of these rocks up. I've been picking rocks up for years and years. That's the size of the rock, so you know the size of it. Okay, and I picked up rocks for years and not realised that the history of mankind is written all over them, a wealth of information. Some of it's past, some of it's present, some of it's future. That is the reality here. And I guess the question is, I picked this rock up a couple of days ago, yes, but some of the information that's on this rock is relative to Easter weekend, the weekend just gone. Ties in with Princess Anne's visit, ties in with a P&O liner that came into Sydney. And it's talking about this weekend, but when was this rock put in the river? Was it 2 days before I got there? 2 hours before I got there? Or was it 6,000 years ago? This is the reality of life, and I suppose that when you stop and think that Göbekli Tepe is above the end of the Mediterranean and underground, where the pyramids are below and above ground, in actual fact the Göbekli Tepe would have been buried by the impacts that created the Mediterranean, and it was buried some 6,000 years earlier, if you blokes have got your elements correct there. Having said that, I do realise these people can make anything any age they wish, but that certainly begs to be questioned as to just exactly when was this placed where I found it. Now the first image I'm going to show you is this video. I've just got this video paused at the moment, but we're only using the microscope light at this point, and I wanted to talk to you about how we are told, look in that direction, look over there, and you will find what it is we want you to find. On this side here there is actually a bird's beak, and on this side there's a man's face right behind it. I'll insert these pictures because I do realise when I take, once again, photos of the TV like this, it's not 100%. So I'll insert a picture of that for you so you can get a clearer vision of it. But they're saying, when you see this, look that way, and that's what you'll find. It's those types of things that will show you where, where to look, okay? I'm going to jump ahead in this video because there was something I did recognise in this video that I thought was very, very important, and it gave me a location. You may not see it this way, but I can assure you this is how they do these things. I'm going to jump forward to this point here and just move slowly through here. If you knew Sydney Harbour at all, I'll just click up here so I get rid of that line at the bottom. If you know Sydney Harbour at all, where the Taronga Zoo is actually on the northern side of the harbour. So in other words, the city is on the southern side over here with all the bright lights and everything, and the point that comes around like this is where Taronga Zoo is. It's actually on a hillside like this, and you park up the top of the car park, and it's pretty much scattered all the way through on the way down here. You can also get there from Sydney or from the Opera House, or I should say from Circular Quay. You can get to a boat at the bottom of the harbour down here and walk your way up this way as opposed to entering via the car park at the top. I want you to realise that down in this portion here we're getting an ape's head come up here, or an ape's face right there. We also see a kimono dragon's face come up here, and not quite as clearly a lion's face in here. They're telling us where the nuclear bomb that was placed in Taronga Zoo over the weekend was located in this particular portion of this video. I'm going to just move along here a little bit. See, sometimes you'll see the ape's face come out reasonably clearly down here. The kimono dragon is in this portion, but the lion's face is actually quite hard to get. And even when I go backwards and forwards in my pictures, it's just a little bit difficult to find. I'm just doing this so you can see how we're told where certain things are. So once you start seeing animals like this relayed where they are, and you know how Sydney is, like that you get all the city on this side, and there's very few buildings on this side here where the zoo is, you get an idea of what they're talking about. So, and also on this same rock, although it's difficult for me to show you all of it, we would be here a fair while, there is big boats in harbour and whatnot shown to us on another video. I won't worry about that so much with Sydney because this is took me a fair few videos to work out just exactly what was happening in this one. So I'll just move along a bit here and just see whether or not you can see what I could see. And now you'll find I've moved the light away now. So this is using an external light source when you've got to do this. You'll see certain faces come out here. Like I said, it'll change its story depending on where the angle of the light is. And you'll see I've moved the rock away a little bit here to somewhere else and gone looking elsewhere for other things. And quite often you'll see shapes created with a shadow. I just wanted to show you that because it does actually happen on this one as well, but I will show you on another one exactly what I'm talking about. So that's basically how it's done. If I go back here again, that's where you sort of see the ape down here, the ape's face come out in this one, and its lips, kimono dragon here, and that line is very, very difficult to get at this particular point. And I've gone in, and it's even worse on this TV, I can assure you. That what I want to do is just show you that that's what happens, and certain places in the video, when you're moving the light around, will give you one story. You move the light to another angle, and like I said, you get a totally different story. It's certainly by design. It's not coincidental. And if I went back up here and showed you another portion, I've moved the rock along here a bit now, and this is where you see the big boat that came into our harbour over the weekend. P&O cruiser came in on Easter weekend, right here. That's what we're looking at there. It's a big boat with lots of windows all along it, and they're talking about that thing being visited by multiple boats whilst it was in here to get the nuclear bombs off it. So that's what they're saying happened. They're saying when this boat was in here is when these nuclear bombs were placed. That's not the only place where I see that on that rock. There's multiple places that refer to a big boat being in the harbour. I'll just let that play through there just so you can see what happens when I'm moving the light from different angles. And I'll press play and we can just watch that a little bit. And as I said, you move the light around. As you move the light around, this is a slow process. It's not something you go like this and bang, there's the picture. It takes some time. You've got to be patient. And sometimes even moving the light like this, even though I'm going slowly here, you can still miss bits. So I go back and I'll go frame by frame. But what they're talking about here is this big ship here. And you know it's a big ship because of all these other little ones that are placed here. It's saying to you that they're, generally as a rule, the black, if it's created with a shadow, it's got something to do with the shadow government and the people behind the attempted nuclear strikes. I just wanted to show you that that's actually where it sort of implies to us that there's also a nuke in this boat at the wharf. The P&O cruiser's got a nuclear bomb in it, probably more than one. That's another thing you'll find. These icons like this are in actual fact a very complicated process. These are not sparkling crystals, they're actually fibre optics pads lit from behind. I'll show you something because this program does allow us to do that. I'll just see how clear it comes out to see if I am able to do this for you. If I put this back up here and hit my zoom function and come down into where I had one of those little bright spots, like there, see in here? And that's why you get this black part around it like this. It's actually, this is lit from behind. It's actually, when I get those real clear, I'll insert one for you, a picture of one right now. And you can see how clear it is when you've got it set up right. I'll zoom in again and we'll just see if we can't get one right in the middle of one. There's one there. We'll just move that down here a little bit. That's actually what does this. It's actually not a crystal, it's actually a fibre optic insert. Some of the technologies used in the manufacture of these river rocks is absolutely mind-blowing to be able to do what it is they do, to get shapes created with shadows and all sorts of amazing things. So I just wanted to show you that. This is another video off the same rock, so I've now moved around the rock a little bit further and I've come to this point here, and I wanted to bring to your attention this here. What happens is when you see these nuclear bombs, if I insert this picture here for you, with this man holding up a shiny white thing, what they're saying there is we're picking up and taking them away. I've gone through that in my nuclear holocaust series, so I just wanted to show you today things that are relative to what happened over the weekend. We did have a P&O cruiser come into Sydney Harbour. It's a huge boat, which is why we're seeing a huge boat there. Here we see, I believe what we're getting told here is a truck has picked up stuff off that boat, and you know, the stuff they've picked up is a nuclear bomb, because what happens is you move this along and that black will all of a sudden light up real bright, and it's telling you that this thing here is being loaded with probably a nuclear weapon. That's generally how they do that. But what I wanted to show you is also, you'll see where this thing was left. It was parked near a pillar, which is the reason why I showed you the bird and the man's face on the first picture, because there is a pillar in Sydney, in Marrickville RSL, well, RSL, I should say, Marrickville War Memorial, of a pillar that has a bird or a man's body with bird wings on it. And it's right at Marrickville, and I'll show you where we are showing a pillar, and where this truck here, this turns into like a truck. You can actually see it's sort of makes it drive away at one point. I'll just go along here very quickly. Here it looks like there's a truck in here, and then you see a pillar come out over here. I'll just move along here quickly. Like I said, it's hard to go quickly because you miss the better parts, but you've got to go. It's like I said, you have to be very, very patient and understand what it is you're seeing. I'll just move along here a bit. Here's where we start to see. Now you see where that's highlighted the back of this truck? And it's all of a sudden come out in a crystal format. Not like a crystal, but you see the front of the truck here, and this is where it's highlighted the back of this thing here. I'm going to zoom in on that just so you can see, once again, what the back of the truck looks like. Okay. And I'll put that right there. It's really quite amazing how that's done, how it's manufactured to do what it's doing. Okay, it looks like there's even a little bloke standing here, look, getting out of the truck. I'll unhitch the trailer and leave it here, which is what I believe has happened with that. I'll just go back here. And I'll move that along further until we see the pillar come up. Right here is where you see the pillar come up. There's a pillar right there. And when I looked at a pillar that had a bird's, pillars around Sydney, one of the pillars that come up had a bird, like a man with bird wings on it, and it was at Marrickville. So I wouldn't be surprised to find that this is in actual fact probably a pretty big, something pretty big in here, like a big bomb. Or some of the other ones that have been left at Toronto Zoo, probably more something carried in a backpack. But I might even place these videos at the end here so you can go through this yourself. Like I said, photographing on TV like this is not as good, and I do put them in at the end, but they're very long, like some of these. This one here is, well, it's not that long, this is only about 4.5 minutes long, so I might put this one in for you and have a look at it. But I'll be honest with you, I reckon there's another one that's better, so I might put the other one in, I think. I'll show you that next. But that's where I believe we're getting shown pillar, right here, and a truck delivering something to this pillar. And I believe, like I said, looking at that bird and that man's head in that first picture I showed you, was telling us where in actual fact that actually took place. So in other words, near Marrickville. Now I'll just let play on this one and we can just watch it for a second or two. It's, what we see here is a waterfall eventually be displayed, and then you've got to come to the understanding of what you're actually seeing around the waterfall. So I'll just press play. Okay, I'm now moving the light source around the outside of the rock. And what you see start to happen here is you start to recognize this as, oh, that's water coming over, like a waterfall. And then you also see, well, you see 3 black spots here that are very obvious. When this happens and when you're watching this, you start to see that you've actually got faces. When you get a bright light like that, it's saying that's where you want to be, so start slowing up there. And you start seeing this as what they want you to see it as, which is a waterfall. And then you start seeing a face on the side of the waterfall, and that's telling you that it's a man-made waterfall. So it's actually not a waterfall at all. What they're telling you is what you're looking at is a dam or an overflow from a dam. And up here you actually get the idea. This is where your waterfall comes in here. Up here there's a river going along like this with a little mark across it saying that the river that it's blocking is a very narrow gorge. And that is Warragamba Dam. That's exactly the one they're talking about here. And this has only just recently happened. This is on the same rock that's got all this other information on. And this is exactly what's we're being told. You can see the face of a profile of a man comes out here and here. And the waterfall is now a waterfall, and it's got a question mark here. It comes up so regularly saying, question what it is you're seeing. So that's actually what happens here. I'll just zoom that back just a tad, although I do find it further down there. This one is not that long, it's only about a 4-minute video. But once again, I'll just stop that there and show you that our question mark comes up here and says, question what it is you're seeing. You've got a waterfall coming down here with a man's face on this side and a man's face in here. It's saying that the waterfall is man-made. And here is the dam across the very narrow gorge, which is exactly what Warragamba is like. It's exactly the same thing. And at the moment, it's actually overspilling. It's the first time in 14 years, and it started in March of last month. So what we're saying here is it's recent events, very recent, and we're talking about that being set with nuclear bombs over the weekend at Easter. Well, this is another video now off the same rock. This one I will put at the end of the video in its full, in good quality, so you can get as good as I see it. I'm going to press play and just let it play through, and whilst I have a chat, this is actually 9 minutes and 41 seconds long. I may not show you all of it, but what I will point out to you is on this rock, in this portion, rather than going from one part of the rock to another to get the story, this one's telling us the whole story in the one area. Okay, so what we're getting told, if you keep your eye on this little critter here, there's a seal here. Okay, right there. In the crystal here, oh, that is amazing, the things that come out there. It tells you who was behind it. The right royal nose of Prince Charles, who was behind this activity. You'll see the seal come out here. At that point I'm just going up and down with the light that was on the microscope, and now I've turned the light off on the microscope. I start using my external light source. There is a seal that's seated just here. At the mouth of the Snowy River there is a seal colony. This is what we're talking about here. We're talking about a nuclear attempt on the power source and mountains of the Snowy River. That's exactly what this is talking about. On this side here you also see at a given point the shape of the lake itself and the dam itself. So in other words, like you're looking down on top of the dam, comes out in this part. In this part here in the crystal you get Prince Charles coming up here, and you know it's him because what happens, you see half a crown, you do not see all the crown because he was never quite king. You also see what appears to be F3 and then the number 5 come up, so whether there were 5 nuclear bombs brought into this area on the F3. F3 is a highway that actually comes to this area. It's exactly where it goes, down through, to Mittagong and via the Snowy Mountain scheme. So we're talking about going through Wagga here. Down in this portion here we actually also get a profile of a woman's face who is, it's going to be the Princess Anne, who was just here recently. Here is where it gets close to being like the shape of a lake, and now you'll see the profile of a woman come out here in black, and it's Princess Anne. She was here on the weekend. That's exactly why that's like that. She's got her hair up. She always had her hair up. I'll put this in its entirety there. The amazing thing is with this little crystal here, it really is quite amazing. What you see in this video highlights where the bombs were brought in here as well. Like these little highlighters come up. The dam is actually at this end of this shape here that you get here. I'm going to not worry about this too much because I will put this in at the end. What I will do though is, whilst I'm producing the video, I will get a couple of still photos off this so that you get very good quality of the points that are important. I just wanted to show you that, but I wanted to show you this because the other thing this turns into, I will zoom in again to our crystal and I will show you that what we're actually getting here is not just the appearance of royalty when I'm back here and we get the prince's appearance, and that's where we see the F3, F3 come up here. Like I said, the F3 is the highway that actually goes through here. It's amazing. The other thing it turns into, which is really quite amazing, it looks like the head of a Maui off Easter Island. I told you these guys here are going to get served their sentence. It's not only just does it look like that, I might make that just a little bit smaller just so we don't lose too much of the shape of it. And I'll position it there. But we also see, well, it looks like an alien reading a book about there. Some of the images that come out here, but it also changes, like I said, to be very much a royal looking profile of a very pointed nosed gentleman with his half crown wearing. There's our alien reading a book. Basically the reason why I'm actually putting this video up here, you can question me if you wish, and I really don't care, because I know when I do this and I've got a clear screen, it is extremely obvious what's going down. When they come here, anybody that goes and tries and removes these nukes are going to disappear on the way there. They're not going to get them. And anybody who was dropped them there, left them there, they're already going to be gone. So the only people that really know where they are, that will be proven between the 3 days, if there's 3 days, between the first lot of people that go, the 97 million, and the next lot, which is 779 million. You've got a given period of time to get your backsides out here if you want to save your asses, find these things, prove to yourselves that what they have tried to do is real, and you may very well stop yourselves getting put in the wrong direction, because they don't want to do that. They want the truth. They want the truth of why they're coming here, told all the movements of Earth that they have to stop happening so that we don't all die. This is what they want done, so it's your choice. I'll just move along a bit now so you can go past this man here, and then we get back to a princely figure like this, where he's crowned. He gets half a crown on it. It's just hilarious. I can't think of a better person than be taken to that place. Just about there we see a royal nose of the Prince Charles, and he's got never ever gets quite his whole crown on here because he never becomes king, and he will be taken away. But what you see in there, like I said, it goes from a Maui up like a shape of a Maui back here, just in here. See that sort of shape you get there is like a Maui head, and then you get this alien guy reading a book. It's hilarious. It really is funny. But anyway, I thought I'd do that, and like I said, when you go back to here, you can see at that point it's even like that. And this, the other part I thought was really amazing, this part here where we get this profile of the lady, because it is so clear when it comes out, just there, profile of this woman. And that too has the royal nose, just there. Profile of the lady's face. It's actually Princess Anne who was here on the weekend. So this is what this rock is telling us. It's about a placement of nuclear bombs, and our seal here is because the Snowy River, where it meets the sea, has got a seal colony at their mouth. Now, albeit I've shown you the part of a seal being in this port at that point, how do we still know it's a Snowy River? I'm going to just let this play, and I want you to keep your eye on this shadow portion here, which turns into the profile of Princess Anne, so we know the time, which is her visit over the weekend, the Easter weekend she was here. Her profile comes back out here, but I want you to just keep your eye on what you see come up here in this portion, because it really is quite amazing. You see, you go past her profile just at that point, and now watch this right here. See what you see. You see a man on skis. There's only one place in Australia you can go skiing, and that's the Snowy Mountains. You see a man come up here on skis. It's the shape of a man riding skis right here. You can see the turn up of his And that's how you know that it's the Snowy Mountains without doubt. It was actually seeing that man on the skis that I went back to the river and see whether there is a seal colony at the at the outlet of the river, and it certainly is. So I'll put this whole video in. There's one more thing I will show you. That's actually where you see partially some of his crown come out on the king that would be, that won't be. But that is where you see that without doubt. It's not 100% clear, I know, on the telly like this when I do this, but certainly that is what is coming up in that portion there. It's a man on skis, and it really is quite an amazing thing when you see that, and that is what makes me realise it's the Snowy Mountain scheme. There's one other thing I will show you. Maybe just there, comes out as well, so you can even see his stick he's holding out. A man on skis, that's what you're seeing. Now I've opened up Google Earth here, and I want you, if you would, this is Lake Jindabyne. I think I'll call it Lake Yukonbean, which is the wrong one, so I apologise. Yeah, Lake Jindabyne. I want you to keep an eye on the profile we have, or the appearance we have here of an open mouth and a face. And I'm going to flick between that and the shadow that we see here. As this happens all the time. There's shapes of lakes or the shape of a place. So now not only have we seen a seal, a skier, but we now got the shape of the lake itself. I've got highlighters here and here, with the narrow portion being down here. Okay, we'll go back to Google Earth. We now have our shape of our face here. And if I now move down, you'll see on the lake itself that that's actually where the catchment, where the dam is. It's down this end here. And you can put boats in here. Okay, you can put boats into this dam and go right to the dam face here and take the dam out with a nuclear bomb, or that's what they would have planned to do. So it is without doubt on that rock they're telling us about an attempted strike right here on this dam to take out power. So not only would they not have water, they wouldn't have power either. This does not, obviously would have killed many people when it blew up, obviously, but you do have boat access to this in multiple places, and I just wanted to show you that that is the case. That shape of that lake is pretty much exactly the same as the shadow we're getting showing us in this picture here. So I'll leave this at the end of the video and you can have a look at that, and I'll show you one other thing that I found interesting, because everything that these people have been doing when they've been doing this, they're in actual fact being caught, and everything is being watched and recorded. Now I did say it's going to be on TV, and you could say, how do you know that, Brian? That too is written on a rock, the very same rock. This is another video. I won't put this at the end. We'll probably see what we need to see when I go through this one. And I'll find on here where we have got vision of the whole process being recorded. I'll insert this picture here for you too, by the way. We can see that the information of them being recorded is recorded. They will show everything that these men and women and people behind this attempted nuclear attacks on our soil will be shown. Now I just want you to watch this. I'll press play here, and this will tell you the whole lot of everything they've been doing is being caught on TV. It's all being recorded, the whole lot. Let's put a little television here to show you that they've recorded everything you guys have done, every word you've said, every plan you had, the attempted nuclear bombs. That's all recorded on TV. There's a little screen there showing you the little things flicking in and out and boats going out, and it's really amazing. I might zoom into that and just show you what you're seeing there. So they are telling us that everything you have done has been recorded, and it's really quite amazing. Some of the things that are on this rock have been mind-blowing. There is one more thing I will show you, and I will let you, well, I might suggest to you what I believe I'm seeing there, but certainly, like I said, they're telling us they've watched the whole lot of you. They've recorded the whole lot. So there is proof, should the other 779 million not speak up and show some courage, of which they have obviously not till this point. They have preferred to keep profit rolling into their pockets rather than truth be expelled from their mouths. Now this is the last video I'll show you today, but it was pretty important. In fact, it's got some really amazing things in this little part here. What I first saw was this. It's the shape of a comma. A comma is a period. It's a period. So what they be saying to us, as I just suggested, once the 97 million are gone, there is a period of time, and you may get 3 days. I don't know. All I'm saying that if they're gone and they're gone first, if I were in that bunch that knew of things that I needed to talk about, I would be talking straight up. I'd be into a police station. If they don't want to listen, write it all out and hand it across the counter, but just get in there. But I would expect you need some sorrow in your heart, and I would expect that a great many of you that are still left do have your sorrow in your heart. Otherwise you wouldn't have been left here in the first place. So I urge you all, in this period of time from the 97 million being taken, to really stop and think of where you may be placing yourself. There are other options here other than moving forward. They also know that you have had the problem of failure because the earth is cycling on its axis in the wrong direction. We've already covered that in my other videos. I won't go through that any longer, but I will press play here and I'll just let you, well, like I said, it's not 100% clear, but in reality there's some things that come out in this that are really quite spectacular. And a lot of the people and the faces you see here are certainly not human. There's obviously a lot of logical placement of marks on this rock, which is why I physically stop here. Sometimes when you see something and think, I recognise that mark as a comma or a question mark or an eye or something, generally that's where you'll stop, and you will start moving the external light source around and see what else comes up. And in this one I was really quite astounded. There are many faces, there are people, there is, I call this one the audience because it sort of looks to me like there's a whole lot of people watching on, and when I say people I don't necessarily mean humans. I'll just see how long this is, I can't remember. Oh, it's actually 10 minutes long, so I might zoom through a bit here because there's spots where things become far more evident, like around there somewhere. You get to start seeing some people, shapes, faces, none of which are, like I said, not a lot of them appear to be human. Listen guys, all I'm saying to you is you get to a point where this guy here seems to have his arms going like this and cheering. Yeah, beauty. We got to the end of the job. Listen, but like I said, I believe this Queen is gone. This 97 million I would expect to be gone tonight. I know I've said that before, but it's not always easy to read off a river rock what their intentions are, you know, and I suppose you've got to stop and think about what you've learned and then go back and reassess what your opinion was, because, you know, it's not until you learn all the things that cause the problem, why they give them so many times and so many chances, because there's some days I wake up and I wish half these boys are dead now, especially that bald-headed guy from Queensland, you know, still coming in after all this and laying up another bunch of nuclear bombs all the way through Sydney and the snowy hydro, and all under the guidance of, you know, Prince Charles, and supplied nuclear weapons from the US military, which was, like I said, there was a US boat in Brisbane after the so-called flood because they're coming to clean up. Yeah, right, as if. they were coming over here to clean up. They were coming over here to clean up already. They cleaned up the whole lot of us, killed us all, because these people did not want to meet their, they know they're on the losing side, and their idea was to remove as many of us as they possibly could. So I believe that that's what we're actually getting told there. So it comes a time, like I said, where this is going to roll out. So you've got a given period of time, which is why when we go back here we see a period mark here. Okay, that's what that mark is. It's a very, very easy to see. It's a comma, and it's saying there is a period of time between the first and second. It may be 3 days, but I can assure you the truth will need to roll out then, and anybody withholding what they know is the truth will find themselves in that remaining 779 million people that are going to be relocated. Having said that, when you take all that away from us, that really means that, well, 7 billion of us are moving forward, and that's actually a really, really good thing, because that's the greater majority of us. And as much as we've had these blokes steering the ship and trying to drag as many of us down that hole, we have come out with 7 billion people heading in the right direction and moving on with the education, understanding of all such things that I've learnt myself and that are on my YouTube channel here, and also, like I said, I've posted on Facebook on the odd occasion. Listen, I'll finish up there today, and I know I keep saying this is my last video. Listen, it's the last one I'm going to make today, that's for certain. Okay, have a nice day. This is Brian Whitten and ET Art. Have a good one. Bye-bye.